where those opportunities exist. And so we've developed a whole system of signage for the Route 28, Route 30 corridor that directs people to hiking trailheads, fishing access sites, campgrounds, scenic vistas. What else have we got?
Camping, hiking, Bel Air is a good example. We came up on the ski center, kayaking, canoeing, and we keep, that's one of the reasons why I don't have PowerPoint and we don't have examples, because it's sort of evolving as we speak. The color is brown and white. The symbols are yet to be determined for all the different, and the hierarchy for when they're displayed, all that's being worked out. We have a plan right now to institute on Route 28 and 30 this spring. Tom has the order. It's being taken care of, and by spring the stuff will be going up. That's part of what I'm going to speak out when we talk about wayfinding. It's on the last page, on the top. It has a P here and a couple more symbols. It has a name and an arrow. This is an example of Rochester Hollow, and this is basically the parking area or the pull-off, and here's a trail. And the P stands for parking area. So there's going to be, if there's a P, there's a parking area there. And then other services that are at that site are smaller. We have other examples like this, Fort Hunter, that has the downhill skiing and an arrow. We have some that are unique because the only opportunity at Hunter is downhill skiing. But we have hiking. We have camping. We have there's going to be a giant snowflake, I believe, for Bel Air, because there's multiple types of opportunities at Bel Air, but it's a wintertime facility. So that's where the snowflake, that comes nationally. That like, Lake Placid ultimately, I think, will have that, and places out in the Rocky Mountains have those type of signs. So there's some things that are new. The question was about the tourist sign, the big question mark. Well, that was the old standard. Internationally, it was the standard. Nationally, it's not the standard. It says info, I-N-F-O, instead of the symbol. It changed about a year ago. That's the way it is. It might change back, who knows, but for now, that's what it is. So for kiosk and see, it would be the Catskill symbol. It would be that info sign and then an arrow pointing, leading to it. And that's what wayfinds are. That would be considered wayfind. There's other signs that you see, we've talked about, like food, lodging, gas, that are just a symbolic sign with arrow. Technically, they're like a wayfind, but in the MUTCD, they're considered a different type of sign. There's a different standard for them. Color-wise, it would be the same, but it probably, it wouldn't get this. It wouldn't get this. It would just get the symbol and an arrow. And that's different from the TODs. And that's more, I think, what a few people here have been discussing that I kind of interjected into, because I understand it, because I'm working with Ed and Bill and Peter and other people about trying to get this organized so it makes sense, it doesn't step on anybody else's toes, and it makes sense for the people, because I know the manual like the back of my hand, but I can talk about a lot of things other than these type of signs, and most people wouldn't know what the sign is. I do, but that's not to say that you haven't seen it. You just maybe don't know what it means. That's a whole problem in itself.
Well, Mark, we're going to direct those type of questions. People can we'll get them to you when that type
Right. So there's a level of it, but all I'm specifically talking about is the wayfind signs. You'll start to see these, and Bill is working with me to get the opportunities, the locations, the names, because they're all local people would know it by so-and-so name. Other people out, they're just looking for an opportunity to go camping or hiking or something like that. Yes?
Bill, can you give us some examples of some of the places that are gonna get these signs in Shandaken?
Absolutely.
Places that we're familiar with?
Thank you, Tom. We have, I'll start at fishing access sites on, some of which are right on Route 28, but more likely they're off on Old Route 28. For example, between Big Indian and Shandaken, there are some, those will get directional signage for fishing access site. Mark mentioned Rochester Hollow, which will get a couple of symbols, hiking, cross-country skiing, and fishing. I think we might have.
Well, no, for that, it's a parking area that has hiking and cross-country skiing.
Maybe one quick step back is, we early on determined that we were only going to develop signage for opportunities where there was a clear facility for that activity. So there had to be a parking lot so you could park your car safely off the highway. There had to be a trail if we were directing people to a hiking opportunity. There had to be a parking lot close enough to the stream and a little trail down to the stream so that it was clear for the public to see where they could exercise their fishing opportunity if that's what we advertised. For the camping, it's developed campgrounds like Woodland Valley, Little Pond, Wilson Park campgrounds. It's not the undefined camping. We're not going to be directing people from the public highway to an undefined opportunity. That's, and that's maybe, I guess you can go either way on that, but what I would say is we want to preserve an opportunity for the public to discover things as well. So you're going to have this balance between the developed opportunities where we have the facilities associated with the undertaking that activity, like a marked trail, and that's what will direct the public to. But if hopefully the public will gain an understanding that there are also opportunities to hike off trail, to bushwhack through to a mountain that most people don't hike, and that's part of the art and the wonder of the Catskill Park, that you can discover those kinds of unique opportunities.
Are all signs, street signs off 28 going to have a little logo?
That's up to the community. That's completely up to each town to make that decision.
Okay,
Yeah.
28A is included on one of your byways, right?
Well,
Is there
yes,
going to be a sign pointing to sundown? Because that's very dangerous to go over there. And if somebody didn't know their way, there's going to be cars off the cliff.
Right, yeah, especially since Irene, absolutely. There will be signage directing people up sundown. That's sort of phase 2. That's not the first quarter we're working on is Route 28 and Route 30. The next quarters we'll be working on in Ulster County will be 28A and some of the smaller segments such as 55 or.
It's going to be very expensive to make that road safe.
Well, that's another piece that I'm not addressing.
Yeah,
to be honest
signing
with
is
you.
just one piece
Yeah,
of the
we're just
puzzle.
providing-
We're just dealing with signing. That's all we're
All right, so I
talking
know,
about.
the meeting's coming up, and I just want to ask that.
Yeah,
question.
Marty.
Yeah, Bill, you said earlier about Little Pond, which I'm happy to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. That signage, of course, will be the brown and white,
Yes.
even though it's not in the park.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
Murphy Hill?
That's right. Little Pond is one of those areas where we all quickly agreed that we'd use a soft boundary and capture all of Route 30. And even though if you're a student of the park, you'll discover that most of Route 30 is not technically within the legislative boundary of the Catskill Park. But for all practical purposes, the traveling public doesn't understand that distinction, so we're going to use the brown and white, and we have, like I said, we have these wayfinding symbols all the way to Shinhopple for Route 30. So you'll get several fishing opportunities on the east branch of the Delaware River. Well, you'll see that.
What about Murphy Hill as a trail, and then the reservoir itself, because there's boating there now?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, that's phase 2 for us, is to work with New York City DEP to direct the public to their recreational opportunities. So we haven't forgotten about that. Yeah.
What about Big Pond?
Yep.
Big ponds on
Yep, that's in our system. Yep.
What about the walkway at the dam at the Ashokan Reservoir, where you would turn at Reservoir Road, but then have to follow?
The same answer I gave to Marty. That's phase 2, where we bring New York City DEP into